Hi everyone, my name is Parul. Welcome to my channel Parul English Lab. In this session, we are going to look at the prepositions despite and in spite of. So, let's start our today's session. The first question that comes in our mind is, what is the difference between in spite of and despite? Is there actually any difference? So the answer is no. There is no difference. They both mean same and they both can be used interchangeably. But while using these two prepositions, it's really important to keep few things in mind so that you sound more natural and correct. So what are those things? Number one, the rule. In spite of or despite, what comes after this? There can be a noun. I already have made a video on noun, a detailed video on noun. I will mention the link in description box. You can watch it. Okay, so a noun can come, noun or a noun phrase, or gerund. Now what is a gerund? Gerund is the verb plus ing, like swimming, dancing, eating, cleaning. Okay, so the verb plus ing is a gerund, or the phrase that begins with what or how. Okay, this we will understand with examples. So first thing you have to keep in mind is the rule. Okay, either noun, gerund or phrase begins with what or how. Now second thing is, they both show contrast. This is really important. These prepositions despite and in spite of, they both show a contrast. Contrast means opposite. Okay, contradiction. For example, black and white, happy, sad. So these are opposites, so they show a contrast. For example, I wasn't well, yet I went to the office. So generally, when you are not well, you should be at home. You should not go out. You should not go to office. But here in this sentence, we can see a contrast. We can see a contradiction. The opposite, I was not well, yet I went to the office, or but I went to the office. So here we can see a contrast. Okay, this again you will understand with some more examples. So these prepositions, they always show a contrast. And the third one is, despite should never be followed by of. So this is the area where most of the people make mistakes. I have heard people using of with despite of, in spite of. In spite of is correct, but despite of is incorrect. You are not supposed to use of with despite. Okay? So these are the three things that you have to keep in mind. Now let's go through some examples. Now here on the board we have some really good examples to understand despite and in spite of in detail. So let's go through them one by one. Despite scoring above 95%, she couldn't get the job. So here, have you noticed the contrast? Generally, when you get good marks, 95%, more than 95%, so it is expected that you would get the job. But there is a contrast. Despite scoring above 95%, she couldn't get the job. Okay, so here after despite, I have used a gerund, score plus ing. Okay, so you remember you can use a gerund, a noun or a pronoun, or a phrase with who or what. These three things you need to keep in mind. Okay. Next is, I went to school despite my flu. So here my flu, my is a pronoun and then flu is a noun. Okay, so I went to school despite my flu. Despite my flu, I was having flu, yet I went to school. So again there is a contrast. She went to office in spite of being sick. So here being, be plus ing, again it's a gerund. Okay, so she went to office in spite of being sick. Despite facing a shortage of money, he bought a new phone. Again you can see a contrast here. Generally, when we don't have money or there's a shortage of money, we don't buy new things. But this is a contrast here. Despite facing a shortage of money, he bought a new phone. Now here you can use in spite of as well. In spite of facing a shortage of money, he bought a new phone. Okay, so they both mean same, despite or in spite of. You can use whichever you want to use. He went to a pub in spite of being underage. So again, be plus ing, it's a gerund. In spite of being underage, he went to a pub. So you can invert the sentence as well. Grammatically, that's also correct. Next is, they were happy in spite of what happened last night. So you remember, with despite and in spite of, you can use the phrase that starts with what or how. So this is a phrase with what. This is what it is, okay? So they were happy in spite of what happened last night. Last night they had a big fight, okay? But after that, they were happy. So this is a contrast. He fought in spite of his fear. He was scared, he had a fear, but in spite of his fear, he fought. Despite having an excruciating pain in my leg, I enjoyed the wedding. So again, a contrast. Generally, when we have an excruciating pain anywhere in our body, we tend to sleep, we tend to take painkillers, we generally rest. Okay, but again, there is a contrast. Despite or in spite of having a gerund, an excruciating pain in my leg, I enjoyed the wedding. I know some of you have still not subscribed to my channel despite liking it. So again, it's a contrast. Generally, when you like a channel, you subscribe to that. But here, I know few people who have still not subscribed to my channel in spite of liking it. So what are you waiting for, guys? Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get the future notifications. Done? Okay, now let's move further. My mom continued to praise my friend despite how I was feeling. My mom knows that I don't like when she praises my friend or when she compares me with my friend. So she knows that I feel bad. But my mom continued to praise my friend despite how I was feeling, or in spite of how I was feeling. Again, a contrast. And here you can see how. So I have used the phrase with how. They went out in spite of rain. Generally, when it rains, we don't go out, we sit at home and relax. But they went out in spite of rain. Again, a contrast. I still love him in spite of the fact that he cheated on me. So here I have used the fact. Now there is one more rule. If you want to use clause with that, okay, then you cannot frame a sentence like, I still love him in spite of that he cheated on me. That's incorrect. Grammatically, that is incorrect. So what you have to do, you have to use in spite of the fact. Okay, so this is what I've done here. I still love him in spite of the fact that he cheated on me. And in spite of the fact, after this you can use that. She got up early despite the fact that she went to bed quite late. So here of is missing, okay, because we don't use of after despite, we know that, okay. So she got up early despite the fact that she went to bed quite late, okay. So this way you will use these two prepositions, despite and in spite of. Again, few things you need to keep in mind. Number one, the rule after in spite of and despite, a noun or a pronoun can come, or a gerund or a phrase with what or who. Second, these prepositions always show a contrast. Third, that we never use of after despite. And the fourth one, if you want to use a phrase with that after in spite of or despite, then you will use the fact. In spite of the fact, despite the fact. Okay, so if you keep these four things in mind, you are never going to construct a wrong sentence with these two prepositions. I want to tell you one more important thing here. I have told you that in spite of and despite, they both have same meanings and they both can be used interchangeably. But there is one exception. So this is the exception. This idiom, in spite of oneself. This means against one's desire or intention. This we will understand with some examples. But here, when you are using this idiom, then in spite of can't be replaced by despite. Okay, now the meaning I already have told you: against one's desire or intention. When you or someone doesn't want to do something, or you don't intend to do something, then we use this phrase with reflexives. Okay, myself, herself, himself, themselves, like this. Okay, now let's go through some examples. Max found a wallet in the class and took it in spite of himself. Okay, so this means he found a wallet in the class and he didn't intend to take it. He didn't want to take it, but somehow he took it in spite of himself. So in spite of himself means he took it, however he didn't want to. Okay, he didn't intend to, but he took it. So this is what it means. My friend slipped on the wet floor and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. Okay, I laughed when I saw him, however I didn't intend to laugh, but somehow I laughed. So this is what it means: in spite of myself. I, myself; she, herself; Max or he, himself. Okay, so this way you are going to use the reflexives. I apologized in spite of myself. That means I didn't want to apologize, but still I apologized. She had a great time at the party in spite of herself. Okay, when we told her about the party, she never wanted to be a part of that, but somehow she came and she really enjoyed the party. She had a great time at the party in spite of herself. Okay, so this way, when you don't want to do something or you don't intend to do something, that time we use this phrase: in spite of oneself. Okay, and here this in spite of can't be replaced by despite. So that's all for today. I hope you have got a good grasp of how these words or prepositions can be used. Now please revise and practice and keep watching my channel. Please subscribe to my channel, share with your friends, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Thank you, take care, have a great day. Thank you for watching my videos. If you find them helpful, please like and share with your friends. Feel free to leave comments. Do subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to receive a notification for the new videos. Thank you, take care, and have a great day.